Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of My Darkest Hour. Thank you guys for joining me. It's good to see you all. It's good to be back. Been a wild year so far. We're only starting in February. It has been a wild adventure. So many things to talk about. So many new groundbreaking experiences that I have had recently in the paranormal field. I will be discussing that. Don't forget to go to the subscribe button, hit that subscribe. That way you'll get the notifications, you'll get the alerts when we're putting out a new episode for the podcast. As well as don't forget to give us a like button. If you like what you see here, you want to see more of it, hit that like button. Go in the comments. Let us know what you liked about the show. Let us know what you want to see in the future events. And also, don't forget to go to University Magicus. Follow us. And once again, it is a real life Hogwarts. And you guys know Hogwarts from Harry Potter, right? So we have all different classes. I'm obviously one of the paranormal instructors there. It's been an incredible experience. I've been doing some groundbreaking work with some of my students. You guys should check it out and become a part of it. It's not expensive to sign up for a subscription, and it's real world stuff. If you want to know what's really going on, whether it's metaphysics, Reiki healing, meditation, tarot reading, any type of religious scenario, or if you want to just come back and deal with the paranormal stuff, I'll be glad to answer your questions and do private lessons with you as well. So, that being said, let's get back to the podcast. You are watching and listening to My Darkest Hour. I am your host, Stefan Brigati, and tonight I have a couple of very special guests, friends of mine that I've been working with for quite a long time. Barry Conrad is going to be with us tonight. You guys know Barry. He's been on the show, I think 3 or 4 times over the years. We go way back. And you guys know that Barry worked on multiple cases. He's got some really big cases. And obviously, one of the biggest in the U.S. history was the Jackie Herndez case, the haunting of San Pedro, which you can find his books. You can research him, and you'll be able to find his books, which are incredible, and learn more about those cases. But he's got a case now that he's been working on, and I've also been working on for the past few years. We're going to bring them on and talk a little bit about this case. I know a lot of you out there have been asking about the extreme cases and how to deal with some of those situations. It's very, very difficult. I've done over 1,000 cases, and this is probably in my top 5 of those 1,000 cases. And they take a long time, and it's a lot of work. It's not only draining on the investigator trying to do the work, but the people involved. It's a nonstop thing. So let's get a little more in depth and learn more about this situation. I'd like to bring on Barry Conrad and Melodie Brookman, who you guys went to the last Paracon, got a chance to meet her and listen to her story. Some strange things happened. And by the way, just so you guys know and are clear of what's happening, sometimes when we're dealing with electronics, the paranormal can affect that, whether it's draining of batteries. For those of you who do paranormal work, you know that the batteries go quick. When we're dealing with laptops or computers, a lot of strange things happen. You guys have been watching me for a long time now doing this show, and strange things happen behind me. Of course, I have Abby right here. She's got my back. She's going to be keeping an eye on what's happening out here. But on Melodie and Barry's end, there is a little bit of electronic latency. So you'll hear the audio fine. The video might lock up and freeze up. That's just them messing with them and trying to give them a hard time. So let's go ahead and bring them in from the green room. Hi, you guys. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Good to hear you guys. I was just warning the audience a little bit about what's happening on your end, whether it's a latency or some kind of the camera freezing up. That kind of stuff does happen in the events. So, ladies and gentlemen, Barry Conrad and Melodie Brookman, I was telling them a little bit about your case and a little bit of the history. So, Melodie, if you can start off by going back to the beginning and telling us about how the situation started from nothing and progressed on to the point where where I introduced myself to you. We started working together and just get us to modern times.
Okay, so back in 2007, I was living in Chatsworth, California, and I was married at the time, and I was started a new job out in Simi Valley, California. My job um, was to connect the psychic with the caller via phone call and run the credit cards in this small room behind a retail store owned by the same owner. And as I started the job, it was August of 2007. I started to hear a female voice, and she was saying a name similar to mine, but it was different. And that's how my paranormal nightmare began. Apparently, this voice had followed me home, and this nightmare began from there.
And this is something that started while you're at work?
Yes.
So nothing happened when you were younger. Everything was just normal until you started going to work at this place.
No, I did have some paranormal stuff happen when I was younger. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was living in Northern California in Mountain View, and it was during the winter time. We had one of those old heaters. It was one of those gas heaters that made those ticking noises when it was lighting, and I heard some footsteps, and the gas heater was making a different tick noise than usual one night, and I saw this dark figure walk into my room, the door shut, and all of my bedding was taken off my bed. I was frightened to death. I didn't move. The room went completely cold, and it walked over to my bed, turned around, walked back to the door, touched the doorknob, and each body part like disappeared, and the last to go was the hand on the doorknob. And after that, items around the house would disappear, and I got blamed for it. And they would show up in the strangest places. I had these dolls back then. They were Dawn dolls, I don't know, from the 70s, you have to understand. And one of them showed up in a bread warmer in the kitchen cabinet. Oh, wow. Which is like a really odd place for it to show. And it wasn't like one of my siblings would put it there as a joke, because why? I mean, that's just an unusual place for it to show up. But after a few weeks, everything just settled down and went back to normal. Years later, when I was about 10, we moved to Southern California. And when I was about 13, I did start babysitting in the neighborhood. And this family, they were in this religion where they believed in Excalibur, and they did this chanting, and they were on this strict diet. And she was telling me that the kids were telling me that, oh, they believe in fairies, and their dog never gets fleas because the fairies pick the fleas off the dogs. And then she had this doll. The girl, Cecilia was her name, had this doll, and I thought the doll was really creepy. And she said, "Oh, the doll talks to me all the time," and I was just really creeped out by the doll. And I had this really strange feeling about the doll. And when I went home, I'm getting the chills right now just talking about it. When I got home, I got this weird sensation, and I started seeing this dark figure again around my house. And one day I was swimming. It was summertime, and I was swimming in the pool. Or we had a pool in our backyard. Swimming in our pool, I could see my whole family downstairs, and my bedroom was upstairs facing the pool. And I felt something brush by me in the swimming pool, and there was nobody in the pool, and there was no debris in the pool, nothing. And as I looked around, I looked up, and my curtain was parted open. And it just like freaked me out. And things started disappearing around the house again. And I got blamed for everything. My dad's jacket disappeared. He blamed me for it. And if he was alive today, he would still blame me for the jacket disappearing. I had Barbie dolls and Don dolls, most kids have them. And I had this penthouse, and on the rooftop, I had my dolls sitting on top. And in the morning, all their heads were turned around backwards.
Wow.
And that kind of freaked me out. And
that's Hollywood stuff right there.
Yeah.
It is.
After that, I was like, that's it. I'm moving my room downstairs. So I was like, I'm done. So I moved my room downstairs, and after several weeks, things settled down, and then things went back to normal again. But throughout the years, I just, every once in a while, something weird would happen. But nothing to this extreme, to what's going on now.
So the dolls that you had when you were younger and you're talking about, were those brand new dolls, or were they used dolls?
Oh no, they were brand new dolls that we had bought. Yeah. But it was just like, it wasn't something that my siblings would like, run in the room and turn their heads around backwards and, oh, let's scare Melodie,
Yeah.
It was just nothing. They would do that to the extreme. I mean, my sister would hide under my bed, wait like half an hour and reach up and grab me. She would do that, but never, oh, let's turn the heads backward, nothing like that at all. That I don't think she would even think of that. That wasn't one of her fortes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just sounds terrifying, especially for a kid, with the dolls heads turning and stuff like that. I mean, who does that?
Even at 13, when you're near puberty and you're thinking about, wow, you're getting at the age where you should be giving up dolls. And you're kind of like, wow, okay, so that was very, very frightening for me. That I had it. I was like, no, I'm moving my room downstairs. That was like the end of it.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so, that's pretty scary stuff, and I know sometimes that happens, and people will sit there and try to say this or that. Oh, it's a prank, whatever, but sometimes you get that feeling and like, it's not a prank. I mean, I had an older sister who was trying to terrify me all the time. And I was just babysitting and I fell asleep, and they put me on a coffee table and a sheet over me. And when I woke up, there was candles lit and they were praying over me. They were having a funeral for me. So that kind of stuff. Like, really? I mean, that's pretty scary stuff.
Well, my brother.
Something you grow up wanting a doll, and that's something you hold on to and confide in, even like a teddy bear. Sometimes those things pick up the energy and they can become alive to a sense, which is something that might have happened with all these dolls being active.
Yeah, but these were, I mean, you don't take like 10 dolls and turn all their heads around. I mean, that's just like, nah, that's just a little too much. Yeah, no, but the stuff that happened in 2000, started to happen in 2007, no, that was, I mean, I can't even compare it to what was going on now. I mean, I mean, you can't even compare it.
Yeah, that was almost like a precursor to what would be leading up to bigger events, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, the shadow, it's not even a shadow. It was a black figure. That was nothing compared to what was going on now. I mean, if even 15 years later, I mean, what's going on now? I'm not frightened anymore. They can't scare me anymore. It's gotten to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm over the fear factor, and it's like, I just need them gone. You know, they're more of a like gnats flying around all day long, and it's like, all right, you guys need to go. It's just trying to find that niche or that one thing that works to like get rid of them. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes, you know, and one thing I do want to say,
Yeah.
when I saw you guys the other night at the house,
Yeah.
you seem much stronger than when I first met you a few years back. When I first met you, it was terrifying, and you were tired, and you were just kind of over it, and just wanted it gone. And I totally understand, and it was scary stuff. You're being grabbed and touched and scratched and whatever, and these things are just annoying you. But to see the empowerment that you have now, it's like you've taken back your life. These guys can't affect your life anymore, and I see that, and I think that's working in a lot of ways. Of course, they're gonna sit there and bother you and pester you and talk and blah blah blah, whatever they do.
Yeah.
But your reaction to it's not the same, so it's taking away a lot of that fuel for them, I think.
Yeah, whatever they do, I just like, okay, yeah, been there, done that, whatever, you know, it's like same old song and dance, you know, it's like, it's time for them to go, you know. I'm like, you keep doing the same thing to me, you know. I just heard a tap over there, sorry.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Yeah.
Someone just tapped the wall.
Yeah.
Don't forget to talk about me. I'm over here. Come on. You know that.
Yeah. So
This is your
yeah.
show.
When I'm at work and I hear it, I usually tune it out because I'm busy at work. Yeah, they'll go and close the bathroom door, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know you're there. Yeah, but yeah, it's just sometimes, you know, when they keep me up all night, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like, can you just let me sleep, you know? So after 3 or 4 nights, like I said, after 3 or 4 nights of being up all night, you know, I finally just pass out. It's just, that's what's tiring, you know. It's just getting through the night. It's just trying to get through the night, seeing what works and getting through the night.
Yeah, trial and error kind of thing, because you got to test it out to see what's going to work and what doesn't.
Yeah, and it's not always about, well, have you tried this supplement and this medication and this and that? those are not always gonna work.
Right.
It's just about, you know, how much getting used to them touching me and talking to me and doing this to me and that to me. Is just okay, they're gonna do this all night to me, and let's see, can I just like bear it and ignore it and finally get an hour here and an hour there of sleep? That's what it's come down to with these entities. So I want people to hear my story, and I want people to know that there are things you can do. And I want people to understand that there are differences between a human spirit. There are differences between a demon, a fallen angel, or an elemental, and then what I have, which is we're still scratching our heads as to what is this. So there, we know that it's not, doesn't fall in the realm of like a fallen angel. We've tried everything for that, and it doesn't really hit that aspect. It doesn't fall in that realm. They're not human spirits. We know this. I've lived with this thing, and it doesn't fall in that realm at all. They're not human at all. And elementals, I don't think they're elementals because they're negative from the get-go. They've never been nice at all. You can't even reason with these things. It's like talking to a brick wall. So being nice to them is just completely out of the question. So we have come to the assumption that these are not alien from another planet. They're not from another planet. This is alien from another dimension. Okay, so this is what we've come up with. We could be wrong, but this is what we come up with. Isn't that right, Stefan?
I totally agree. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
So when I met you and we started trying with the basic, simple hauntings, the
Yeah.
human type spirit, like, sure, you know, and they're all over the place, but they're easy,
Yeah.
you know. And then we started getting stranger things and almost like demonic, but it wasn't quite that extreme of demonic. It was more of like, that's why I kept alluding to the fact, I'm like, what are we dealing with? Alien stuff that we can't see? It felt alienish. But then again, a lot of people are saying, well, there is a type of reptilian that could be confused for being demonic and stuff. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What's going on? But it's true. It's almost like an alien, but not from this kind of dimension, an interdimensional thing that we're not understanding. That's able to come back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's the difference.
Yeah, so we were like, so we had to do a process of elimination of, okay, well, we've tried all this stuff on them, and it just was like, try this. And they were, and in the middle of the night, it was like, you know, we would try cross, and they were like, burn, okay, it doesn't burn anymore. And I'm like, who does that? I mean, how does something do that, you know? Because like, the demon would be like, get the hell out of here, you know?
Yeah, they wouldn't want to be around it.
Right. And I'm like, well, who does that? You know, I'm like, who the hell does that, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't react to that. And the human spirit would be like, across, oh my, wait a minute, we gotta go, you know? I mean, like, so, and then we try to stuff that humans would be affected by if it was a human spirit. And I'm like, wait a minute, it wasn't human to begin with, because the pictures I was getting when I would take pictures and evidence and stuff, and I'm like, those are not even human eyes. And the things were taking my soul to other places and astroplaning, and I'm like, these aren't even human. I mean, I knew they weren't human from the get-go, and I was like, these aren't even human. And then they were morphing into other things and fooling people.
Like the
Yeah.
the pan.
Yeah, they were fooling people. And so psychics were going, oh, it's a little boy. And I'm like, he's not a boy. and I was just like, no, it's not human. They speak English, but then they speak this weird language. And I'm like, they're not human. I go, I can't even relate to the language they're even speaking. And you can hear the language through the necrophonics clearly. And I'm like, well, what is that? It's not even like Latin or they're not even Latin. They're not even speaking a backward language. Stefan hears it, and it's just like, what is that language?
I remember being at your house, and me and Mark were running the spirit box to my speaker and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were hearing it, and that's what made us think, like, okay, they're alien spirits of some kind, because they were like speaking with
gibberish
from Harry Potter, that weird language, Slytherin, with a big bunch of
Right.
Yeah.
And me and Mark were like, what the hell are we listening to? What is that?
Yeah. And I was like going, what is that weird language? Because then when they were chanting this weird chant, and I'm like, that's not Native American either. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And then you hear this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is that? And then they would imitate stuff like demonic stuff, and they would never do 2 knocks. I mean, like 3 knocks, like a demonic thing. And I'm like, how come they never do three knocks? And they don't do like sulfur smells or mildew smells like human spirits. I mean, there's just no odor. And they would do weird odors like mint chocolate chip cookies. And I'm like, what kind of spirit does that? It was just bizarre. And I'm like, they don't even do an odor.
That's funny, because at your house the other night, remember, I'm like, what the hell is that? Someone baking cookies? What is that? Out of nowhere. It smelled really good. I'm like, wow, they better give us some. There better be some cookie materializing. But
and
then it just gone. It was weird.
I hate mint. I would never cook. I would never bake anything mint in my life because I can't stand mint. And my sister came over one time and she's like, did you make mint chocolate chip cookies? And I'm like, why would I make those kind of cookies? You know, I can't stand mint. And she's all, I smell it. And I'm just like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Why would I even bake that kind of cookies? And she's all, I smell it in your house. And I'm like, ew. Why would I make that? And so,
real quick, did you just say a second ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I
there was
said it
a
one
delay, and all of a
time.
sudden I saw your mouth do something. I heard a yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, is somebody else talking?
Oh.
Trying to get their opinion in there?
They might have said it.
They could have.
They could have said it before I said it. But I had one investigator come over and he said that my voice came on the recorder and I wasn't even talking. And he said, you're a poltergeist agent and you created the whole haunting.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? There's no movement of objects in this haunting. I go, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, very few of that. That's for sure.
I go, there's it's very it's on occasion that you get something to move. It's very rare that you get something to move. But I'm just like, no, I mean, why would my voice pop on a recorder when I'm even talking?
Yes, but you got to admit, when you were speaking on stage at my convention, the speakers were moving.
Yeah, and I felt the rumble of the speaker.
Yeah.
Under my feet, and I heard it going, boo. And I was just like,
yeah, I was right there too. I forgot about that. That's right. And you said something to her, Stefan. Do you remember what you said?
that I got on stage and you go, you brought your people with you.
Yeah,
And
I
I
see
was
you brought your
thinking,
people with you. Yeah.
yeah. And I was just like, they're not people.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know what I meant though.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like,
Your
yeah.
posse. It's like
it looked
really.
like it was rumbling, right? It was vibrating for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and you
It
were
was
standing
rocking.
right.
It was rocking like it was like somebody
Rocking.
pushed it. It was rolling or something. It was weird.
Yeah.
Did anybody get that on video? I was curious.
I didn't. I'll have to check. I'll have to ask some of the camera guys to see if they got that stuff.
What if they had that? That'd be interesting to see. It was really amazing.
But I know they can move stuff because it was like 2 months ago. I was upstairs and my glasses were on the nightstand next to the bed. And all of a sudden my glasses go whoosh onto the floor. And I remember I was just laying there and I'm like, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to see that they moved or anything. I'm not going to take attention to it. And I waited. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, shit, Barry's going to come up and step on them. I didn't want to give attention to it. And I'm like, trying not to think about it. I'm like, shit. So I bent down and picked him up. Like, damn it. Because you have to understand, any attention you give this haunting, they're like on it. They're like hotcakes on it. And then they start talking, and then they start up. So so I have to try any attention you give this, they're like on it, you know. So I try not to give it any attention.
It's true.
So,
They feel like
yeah.
they're the star. They're being successful at what they're trying to get attention for. So you have to think
Yeah,
that they don't deserve.
they think they're they think they act like juvenile kids, which is really strange. They show animation to me, which is really bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Really? Like
Yeah.
what are they showing you?
They used to show me Cinderella. Like in the daytime, they would show me Cinderella dancing, you know, in the ballroom scene and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like staring, going, what does Cinderella have to do with me? And they're like, oh, you're Cinderella. And I'm like, what?
Really?
And I'm like,
But then they would
I
show
don't
you.
get it.
They show her Cyclops. Like,
Oh yeah, and then they were showing me.
Ray Ariels and stuff.
They show me the eyeball of the Cyclops from Sinbad and the Seven Seas.
Seven Boys.
Oh, I love
Seven
that
Boys.
movie. Claymation one? Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all, there's a Cyclops watching you. And I'm like, you know, he's made out of clay. And and I started laughing, and I have that movie on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love that movie. And you go, he's watching you. And they're like trying to scare me or something. And I go, you know, I love that movie. I'll put it on.
Yeah.
I'm
Like, getting scared, think of a different movie.
I go, they make it out of clay. And he thought, the Cyclops is coming for you. And I'm like, he's made out of clay and he's like this tall.
Yeah, tell him to come get me.
I go, if you're trying to scare me, you're not doing a very good job.
Yeah, pick a different movie. That one's not that scary.
And he goes, I'm showing you the eyeballs and the Cyclops. And I'm like, how is that scaring me? And then they would throw stones all the time. And they go, we're throwing a stone. And I hear this ping. And I'm going,
they got to tell you what they're doing. We're throwing stones. So get ready. You know, it's like, I'm going to clean that up.
So I was like, okay, you're going to tell me you're going to throw a stone right before you throw it? I go, if you're trying to scare me, don't tell me you're throwing a stone before you throw it.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm like, you're not scaring me. I go, look, do you understand that I'm a full-grown woman? I'm an adult. I go, I'm not a kid.
And
I go,
it seems like their mentality are like kids, you know?
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand how, like, you're trying to scare me. I go, I'm not 5 years old. And then they would show me stuff from like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I'm like, I don't understand how this is like gonna scare me. So like through the years, I was just like, you're not scaring me anymore. You know, in the beginning, they did these horrible things to me that were scary, and they were very horrible to me. And they hurt me physically. Don't get me wrong, they still hurt me physically. I still get all the bruises, the scratches, and they give me migraines. They make me nauseous and sick. They give me diarrhea. They still sit on me, you know, in bed. And this is what I don't understand. Like, most entities sit on people on top of them in bed. This one sits on the side or underneath from the bottom of the mattress. Now, how they do that, I don't get it. I don't understand how they defy gravity. I guess there's no gravity in the spirit world, but he puts all his weight on the bottom of my leg, and it's extremely painful. So
They were doing that the first night I met you when Stefan was filming the C5.
yeah, he was sitting on the side of my leg that whole time I was sitting in the chair.
That's right.
And it was,
Mike had that little meter and he was putting it by your leg and it was lighting up.
and it wasn't going off. It wasn't, the light wasn't going off. And I was pissed. And then he was literally pounding on the top of my foot. And that's why I grabbed that little wand thingy that, you know, and the light wasn't going off. And I was like, I was sitting there going, you motherfuckers, you know, because the light wasn't going off and he was sitting there going, on the top of my foot. I'm like, you know, you're seriously hurting me and the light's not going off and I'm in a lot of pain right now. And the light's not going off, showing you that you are there, but I know you're there because you're hurting me. And I didn't get a bruise. So sometimes they physically hurt me and I don't get any marks, but other times I get marks because they have stepped on me on the top of my foot. They'll step on me while working, walking around all day long, and I come home and I have a bruise on the top of my foot. And then one time my doctor goes, how'd you get that bruise on the top of your foot? And I was, you know, it was like, how am I going to explain to my doctor that this ghost is standing on my foot for 4 hours? I mean, that's a little difficult, but I just didn't explain it.
She explains it, not her doctor physically, it's the doctor she works for. She's a
it was my regular primary doctor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Saw the bruise.
Dental assistant.
No, my boss knows what's going on.
But they followed you to your work.
Oh yeah. He heard the necrophonics. He heard the necrophonics yesterday, and he was blown away because he heard their language, and he was like, what the hell is that? And I was like, that's their language. And he goes, they're with me. And they were going, blah. And he was like, what? I go, that's their language. I go, that's them and that's their language. I go, that's what they sound like.
Wow.
And I said, that's not a toy and that's their language. That's an actual app. It's a tool. And they said, that's what they actually sound like. And I said, you have to understand, they talk full conversations to me nonstop for 15 years, day and night. I said only because I've been wearing these stones that I haven't been able to hear them lately. If I'm not wearing the stones, as soon as I take them off, they're like, why don't you talk to me? Well, you know, and then they start up and I can hear them talking again. But when I put the stones back on, I'm like, oh, silence. You know, it's really nice. But people don't understand. That's why it was really nice when your wife said, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for you, because she's now hearing through your amplifier what I've been hearing for 15 years. And people don't get it. They're like, oh no, you're crazy. That's not happening. And I'm like, it is happening. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, people go through that kind of stuff, and the norm just don't get it. And those who do kind of get it try to pretend like they don't get it because they're afraid. So everyone's afraid of it. You're just not happening to you. They're trying to convince themselves that.
Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want people knowing that this is actually happening. But I mean, I don't know how many people actually have the same thing that I'm going through, or is it they're just hearing one spirit like me, like this, or do they have multiple like me? I don't know. I don't know how many out there are there like me. Every case is different. Every person is different. But I want people to know I am searching for an answer. So I'm trying desperately, and I'm searching for an answer to find that one thing that actually works. And I'm getting closer to the answer. I'm getting really close. I found an answer to the voices to keep them at bay.
Quiet them a little bit. Yeah, good.
I've been able to quiet them a little bit, not get rid of them. I do know that they come through my stomach. I do know that. I can feel when they come through my stomach. I know that's how they come and go through their dimension, or whatever, the portal or whatever it is. The portal is through my stomach somehow. I'm not possessed, so-called. I may have oppression, but I'm not possessed.
Yeah,
so,
there is a huge difference out there, you know.
Yeah. So I want people to know that exorcisms don't work on me. I've had several done, and it doesn't seem to really do anything. I think
it just quiets them down for a couple of days, and then they're right back.
Then they're right back. And it's not even a day. It may work for maybe the night, and then they're just just as loud.
Yeah, open the door. There they are.
There they are. Yeah. And it's
so
not
Barry,
a matter of,
let me ask you.
Yeah.
You've been on some pretty intense cases. Are you seeing a lot of similarity to some of the cases? I mean, what's your aspect on it, and are you being affected by it?
That's an interesting question, Stefan. I can't say that personally I'm being physically affected by anything, although I have felt things through her. Like there was one night, was it the prayer book you had? She had said, you got to feel it. They're trying to get this away from me.
Oh, it was that.
Which was it?
It was the Catholic prayer book, tiny Catholic prayer book.
So she put my arm around to feel the force, and you could feel it thumping, and it just like pulled it right from my hand. So it's a physical force. As far as me being attacked or anything like that, physically, nothing like that. But what I found really interesting about it is interesting that in the sense that the common denominator are these lights, these orbs of light. We saw them in San Pedro. Now they can have a different signature, because like I said, recently I found out, we went down there to San Pedro and got a bullet of light, a rod of light picked up on 4K. I had not been there for years, just on the outside for a minute, because they're still renting that house out. And sure enough, a light came across Melodie, and the gentleman who owns the place. and it went into the shaded part of the house and moved back into the house towards through the windows. And it was the same signature of light that I picked up 33 years ago, which is interesting because that there's a lot of parapsychologists and people that have kind of tried to discredit the case as being a kind of an RSPK thing that generates from the person, the poltergeist agent. Like they'll say, well, it was Jackie Herndez in that case.
Yeah.
She moved, and so the phenomena would probably supposedly abate, but it could follow her, just like Melodie's being followed. That's another common thing, being followed. Again, lights, and that is interesting because the fact that this phenomena in the form of those lights is still there to this day, 33 years later, after we originally investigated the case, tells me that it's something that's not RSPK related as far as the person goes. It's something in the house, and I think it's possible that certain entities can, like through her, they may use her energy. She says it comes up through her abdomen, her stomach. It may be using her physical energy, converting it to some kind of other energy to manifest and do the things that it does. Jackie Herndez in the San Pedro case, the same way, followed her a number of times and did physical things. Now, in that case, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, I think you already know this, is that normally we don't use Ouija boards, but there was a case up in Weldon. She had moved up 300 miles north into a mobile home. And during a Ouija board session she had been playing around with it, she said things were communicating. So we wanted to just see if it would really work for us. And we had things that were going on as soon as we got out there. Strange lights were appearing by a shed. And during this Ouija board thing, it spelled out beautiful sentences and language talking about being held underwater in San Pedro Bay. And then it levitated just gentleman Jeff Wheatcraft and threw him against the wall. He's the same guy who had been originally hanged, not killed, but attacked in the attic. And again, in that case, we found out, well, according to the Ouija board, it was a seaman. I did a lot of research on that case, and I did find in 1930, which it said that was the year he had been murdered. I found out that this person was a seaman. He worked on a lumber steamer known as the Astoria. And it's really curious, going back to the San Pedro house itself, because the cord that wrapped around Jeff's neck was a bowline knot. That's a longshoreman's knot, or traditionally used on ships by seamen over the centuries. It's a non-slip knot, very tricky knot. And so I think that getting back to the idea of whether this is she's a poltergeist agent, where she's generating, a lot of people believe, well, it's her she's doing it psychokinetically. If not psychokinetically, she's generating energy that she's being attacked by from her own mind. It's like a psychic lobotomy. Something detaches psychically from her and is affecting all these different things. I think that's possible in some cases. It's possible because I think we're more than just a physical being. But in the case of the San Pedro case, going back to that, what's the chances of her psychokinetically from her mind generating a bowline knot, a seaman's knot? We know that dozens, if not hundreds of seamen had lived in that very same house. But the common factor in all this, I go back, is these lights. Just again, the other night after you guys left, I recorded a camera because you said there's a lot of ions in the air and so forth, and this may be a good time to capture some. Again, the lights are showing up, and those are not as bright as some of the lights we've seen, but they're showing up. Now, the one thing that was different about this case, and I find it extremely interesting, is that Jackie had always described one of the entities as being like a pink energy form. And one night there was this image, she takes a lot of pictures with her iPhone. She's been very good with that. And she has the live view function that records about 2 seconds of video. And you saw this piece of video, I showed it again the other night, where she's snapping off pictures, and she got 2 seconds of video of an object that lit up the whole room for a few seconds. And when I played it back in slow motion, on the editing software, it looks like a pinkish orb of light, but it looks like it's either got a tail or a spinal column. Now that energy is interesting. Another theory I have about that is that when she talks about Pan and other entities that take different forms, there's like a mouse goddess person that she thinks she's seen. It those images could be morphs from energies that are interdimensional. It could be, if it's energy, well, maybe it just takes these different forms to scare her. Pan was the one, that's one they call the kid, I believe, right? Pan.
Yeah, they're heating me up right now.
Half man, half, because right now she's being heated up temperature-wise, because they changed the temperature on her a lot. A lot of her temperature will fluctuate very rapidly.
Yeah.
And
See, my face is real flushed right now, Stefan. Do you see it's kind of flush? You're heating my face up right now. I'm really hot.
Oh,
they
yeah?
do that all the time.
Yeah.
You should
So I
keep
think
a thermal temperature gauge near you, so when you feel that, you can see if there's a difference of heating you up.
Yeah, they like to heat me up. They think it's like funny. But so I keep a cooling towel nearby and I just cool myself down with it.
Yeah, but I think that this phenomena could morph into these things that maybe it thinks can scare you. You know, it can,
Yeah.
it's like a thought form or something like that.
Yeah.
And I believe that's very possible if it's energy. But then again, you have human spirits. We saw a really interesting piece of video today. It was from an old video called, I think it's called Paranormal Files. There's a lot of stuff that is done in England that a lot of times you don't always see it here unless you're watching some of the stuff that's being streamed now. And there was a case where there was an old office building. It was like
Town hall.
It was an old town hall in some borough of England, and I think back in the 70s, a fire broke out, and there were several of the people that were fighting the fire suddenly saw this girl appear in the midst of the flames, standing on was it the stairs or something like that?
It's on the stairs. She was standing on the stairs. They saw her on the stairs during the fire, and they were like,
they ran out.
They ran out because they were like, no person can withstand the heat up there at all. No human. So they like they were like, what the hell? They ran out. Then when they came back, the guy saw footprints, a little girl's footprints where she was standing the other day where the fire was. And they were like, he was thinking, oh, we're children around here, you know? And they go, no, we were the first one, we were the first ones here. And he was like, that's strange. And then they realized that 300 years ago, there was a girl named June, I believe, that had started a fire in the same place. And she was this little girl that started a fire 300 years ago in the same building. And there was a plaque that had survived the fire.
Wow.
That were saved. Yeah,
but amazingly, the amazing part of that, a guy was documenting with stills on film. It was I think it was in the late 70s.
He was taking pictures.
Got a
the fire.
Very clear shot of the girl standing up on this railing, looking down, and she's got curls and they did some research, and like I said, it was the girl. It started for 300 years before that.
Yeah, he thinks it was the same girl.
Wow.
Very clear.
Spirit that old, you know, they have a lot of time to learn about manifesting and drawing energy, so she's got to be really strong.
Yeah.
That's right. That would be an example of a human, I guess, residual spirit that can sometimes come back into the three-dimensional, you know, materialize into the three-dimensional world again. It's fascinating. That really cool. Much like the Ghost to Scream video that I did years ago in up in Minnesota, where the boy appeared. The dead boy spirit appeared above the car crash. It was very similar, very clear like that. I love stuff like that. So interesting.
Absolutely. So we got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's wrap to the kind of advice that you want to give to people who might be suffering from this kind of attachments as well? And for those of you who are listening, this kind of case, it's not TV land. We all do these
No.
TV shows, and I'm on a million of them. But reality is, you don't show up there on a Friday night and get rid of the ghost, and all the problems are solved by Sunday morning. That is
No.
not what happens. She's had 15 years of this nonstop things happening. So it takes years and years and years to unwind that cord, and sometimes it never goes away. Something Melody's been able to work through is sort of a coexistence. She's taken all the energy of oppression and kind of squished it back a little bit and is working on things to contain it, pushing it down. So, Melodie, please, the advice that you want to give to people who are in the same situation that you are.
So what I would do is learning to coexist with entities like this is to never fear them. These things live off of fear, or all entities live off of fear. Never fear them. That's the first rule. And don't talk to them. It's a waste of time. You're just wasting your time and energy. I wouldn't spend time talking to them, fearing them, or even I would spend my time enjoying your life as much as you can. To coexist with them is to you have to learn certain things to exist with them. What I have done is I've gone through the process of elimination as to figure out what kind of entity that you're dealing with to begin with. Go through a process of elimination first. See what works with them to keep them at bay, and go from there. Figure out what kind of entity it is that you're dealing with, and then like what I'm dealing with, alien from another dimension, not another planet. So what I've done is the stone that I'm using, and I don't like to say or think about it because they use it against me if I think about what it is. And that's probably true about any spirit. So don't think about it. I'm just going to say it one time. Shug Knight. I'm not repeating it.
Shug Knight?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You can get it on Amazon pretty cheap. You can get it in its raw form as well. You can put it in the windowsills. Getting it in its raw form is better. You can also get it in they have it on, you can get it on your get it in a flat stone to put on your cell phone. That's what I did. And you can get a wig tape. Wig tape comes in a roll. I got it in a roll. It's like $9, $10 on Amazon. So it comes in. That's what I did. It's sticky on two sides. And what I do, and this is very important, where you put it on your body. Don't just put it anywhere in your body. So I bought six stones. They're flat. They're 2 inches round. You buy the biggest ones. You don't want to buy the smallest ones. It's not going to work efficiently for you. For me, I bought 6. You want to put one on your chest. Why? Because they like to smother me. And it keeps them off your chest. So I put one on my chest. And the wig tape, I used to put one on. Now
that makes a lot of sense. Surrounding yourself with these things, keeps them off it. If they don't like it, that's what it's about. It's creating an uncomfortable environment for them, so they're going to stay away.
You want to keep them off of you during the day and the night when you're sleeping. You want to get some sleep. So this is what I do. I put one strip here and one strip on the other side, one on each side. And you just peel it off. And I press it down and I count to 10 seconds. You slowly, count slowly. Don't take your time when you're doing it. Press really hard, firmly on your body. Put one on your chest. I also put one down right below your chest bone in here. This is a good place too. This keeps them from another place as well. And you want to put one on your stomach. This is another good place. Another place is just on your, in between your stomach and your private area, below your panty line. And I'll tell you why. These entities like to squeeze my abdomen really tight and give you diarrhea. This keeps them away. This is why I'm telling you where to put it. I'm not telling you this as a joke. This is for a reason why I'm telling you where to put this plate. Put these stones. Another place, the other three places is on your back, is on the back side of you. They latch onto your back. Entities like to latch on your back. So you're going to put, I put one on my shoulder, this side near my spine, and the other one on this side on the other spine. And then I put one in the middle of my spine. This one stone is broken, and I forgot how it broke. But anyways, so I have like 3 or 4 tapes on there, and I put it in the middle of my spine, and that's where they latch onto. And then I have one down just below the panty line in the back, between your back and your anal hole, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I have it there too because they do nasty stuff down there as well. Those are the best places to put the stones to keep them off of you during the day and the night. Sometimes you can also get a magnet. Magnets work as well. And sometimes it sounds strange, but it's not really. You can buy these little tiny miniature Bibles. They're like this big. They're really tiny. You can buy like 10 of them for $10 on Amazon. And you can buy magnets. You can get like 2 inches round or whatever. At night when they invade your dreams, this is really, really important. When they get into your dreams, and they do, you can put a Bible and a magnet on the back of your neck and one on your forehead, and they'll stay out of your dreams at night when you're sleeping. Otherwise, they'll invade your dreams when you're sleeping. You'll have strange dreams. They'll take your soul. You'll have outer body experiences. If you want them to stay out of your dreams, you'll need one on your forehead when you're sleeping and in the back of your neck to keep them out of you. It sounds really weird and strange, but it absolutely works. Don't do it every night. You don't want them to get used to it. Just do it randomly. Don't think about it when you're doing it. Don't think about it. Don't just randomly just stick it on and do it and go to bed. If you think about it, they will go, oh, she's going to do it tonight. And then they'll try to invade your dreams that night. Just randomly do it. This is the advice I have. Oh, every day when I go to work, I stick one of those Bibles in my pocket. And in my clothing, I stick one in my pocket every day at work. They don't like it. I don't know why. Bibles, something about a Bible they don't like. Not that they're religious, but it works. So this is a self-defense that I use to keep them at bay and keep the voices out of my head, so I don't have to hear them all day long. And this is how I coexist with them and get a little bit of sleep at night.
That's great advice. Thank you for letting people know that. A lot of people might think it seems like a lot of work, but it's something that's necessary if you want to have control of your life and have some peace.
Yeah, it's very necessary for me. It may look weird. Barry sees it every night, and he's even asked me, he goes, "What is on your head?" And I'm like, what's on my head. Keeps them out of my dreams. I need to get some sleep. Because sometimes he forgets, and he's like, "What's on your forehead?" And I'm like, "It's a Bible." But
excellent.
yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on the show and spending some time with us. And Melodie, thank you for the advice you were giving to the people out here who might be going through that, because there are people out there that are still experiencing stuff like that, and it might give them a chance to get a break, have some more control in their life. So I really do appreciate that. And hopefully I'll see you guys again real soon.
Absolutely. Great to be on here, Stefan. Great to see you.
In case anybody wants to reach out and ask you some questions, how can they get a hold of you guys?
I'll give you my email. My email is lowercase Barry, Barry, 6351 @gmail.com. And I also have a website, barryconrad.net. It's my camera website for my camera work that I do. And Melodie, do you want to give your email?
Yeah, it's Melodie's Nails at AOL.com, and that's Melodie with an IE. It's S nails, fingernails. I used to do nails. So you can email me anytime you want. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me anytime you want. So that's Melodie's Nails at AOL.com. This does keep them at bay. It probably works for other spirits as well. So it does work. It keeps them at bay. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. Email me, please.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. When you guys go to the YouTube video, I will put that in the comments as well, so you guys can go back and get their emails and ask them questions. They're the ones living this life, and if you have some similarities, you want to share those, you can put it in the comments as well, or you could just write them an email and tell them what you're going through and get some direct advice from people who are living this situation. So that's going to be it for the show. Thank you both very much. Let's set something up in a few weeks and get back together and do some more stuff and see what we can find out. The last time we were there was very interesting, and hope to do it again soon with you guys.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Stefan.
Thanks.
All right, you guys, that's going to be it for this edition of My Darkest Hour. Thank you guys for joining with us. As you're noticing, some of the footage was freezing up. We were still able to get all the audio. The spirits that are over there are very menacing, and they like to play a lot of practical jokes. And that's what we think is going on over at that location. Fortunately for me and for my friend here, Abby, things have been doing pretty mellow tonight. Nothing's really moved, and there's no knocking on the closet this time trying to get attention in the middle of the show. So that's good. So we will see you guys the next time Be sure to join us for another edition of My Darkest Hour, and I will see you guys real soon.